Dzień dobry Państwu. Cieszę się, że mogę być u Was dzisiaj w Łódź.
I'm very happy to be here in Łódź.
Ja będę mówić trochę więcej po angielsku.
I'll be speaking more English than Polish, so I won't have to listen to my grammatical mistakes.
It's great to be back in Łódź again. My thanks to our partners here and for this conference and the opportunity to share a few words about the role investors, particularly American investors, can play in the regeneration of traditional industrial cities. In more than 25 years in Poland, I've seen tremendous change in our cities, our economies, our workforce, and in the way private and public sector organizations can work together. At the American Chamber of Commerce in Poland, we represent over 350 investors here in Poland. We employ nearly 300,000 people directly on a full-time basis and have over $54 billion in assets in the country. So the success of the Polish economy, the success of our cities is vital to the success of our investors and to our shareholders. As we begin to emerge from this period of constant lockdown and disruption that we experience from COVID-19, it's an excellent time to consider how do we as investors play a role in the regeneration of cities, what have we done so far, and what will we do in the future. When we look at the impact American investment, and indeed all forward-looking investment can have in our cities, and particularly here in the case of Łódź, it's useful to borrow a phrase from the Brookings Institute in Washington and discuss transformative investments and what that means. These are investments which are keys to unlock further investment, to create opportunities and create positive change, which develop the local market, improve quality of life, and most importantly, contribute to a longer-term sustainable development and transformation. As we stand here in EC1, it's certainly a transformative investment, along with the rehabilitation of historic buildings and streets throughout Łódź. Transformative investments are usually considered so because it's not just the investment itself, it's what they touch upon. A new train station next door and a transport hub here in the city is an example of this, because it touches on transport, access to and from the city center, and helps the community access its neighborhoods, its sports venues, its cultural centers, green spaces, and this contributes to the quality of life for everyone, and particularly the workforce for investors. Investment can have a similar multifaceted impact on the regeneration of a city. Cities thrive over time by evolving and adapting. And U.S. investors continue to play a part in this in some ways that may not always be obvious. A new investor can bring jobs, build or rent, production and research space, and this is of course important, but what else does new investment bring? Jobs are not just for the employee. Jobs support families, jobs support households, jobs support the housing market. Critically, jobs created or preserved accomplish something that every successful city needs. They provide opportunity and they keep human capital, human talent here locally, and they can attract new residents to continue to grow the community. As cities like Łódź create human capital through its schools, its universities, and its workforce at local companies, it's important to offer the chance for those people to stay in the community. And remember, for investors, human capital is the #1 factor in the success of long-term regeneration of our communities. American companies continue to expand their investments throughout Poland, and indeed right here in Łódź. Advanced manufacturing, shared services center, distribution and technology companies are all elements of the future value-based economy that will shape the post-pandemic world. And investors like to follow successful investment. So in Łódź and other cities where U.S. companies have success, they tend to be fantastic ambassadors to attract the next generation of investment. Another way that is maybe less obvious at times than just the simple numbers of how much is invested, how many jobs are created, is the role that American companies and others have in helping transform local economies by linking our communities to global markets, to global supply and service chains. The scale for growth is significant. Products and services from Łódź and its sister cities in Poland are distributed and utilized around the world. I have found products that I know are made in Łódź in stores and homes throughout Europe and beyond. Financial specialists, programmers, network engineers, logistics managers are literally working around the world. but they're doing it from right here at home. This is part of the impact that U.S. companies can have on the ongoing transformation of our cities. Global business executed locally. Also, the presence here in Łódź and in other major regional cities in Poland of services that are critical to attract investors and to help the community grow, such as the Big Four firms. Now, I don't want to advertise for the Big Four tax and accounting firms, but the FIT does two things. One, it helps service the local market. It helps them provide services to their customers in the region. But most importantly, it's a signal to potential investors that all these services and expertise that they're used to receiving anywhere they go around the world is available here, and that they can be fully supported to a global standard that their investment committees would expect. So this is something that is I think, underappreciated at times, that these signals that are sent to the international community. And U.S. companies are also very effective at partnering with local companies. And this has a huge impact on transforming the economy and growing it at a local level. So buying goods and services from local companies, partnering with companies that have innovative solutions and technologies, bringing that into their global chain of supply. This is an often underappreciated impact, and this is part of that transformative effect that companies can have. Partnership between investors and local stakeholders is also a make or break issue for sustainable transformation. Clear, open dialogue and communication between investors, between the community leadership and government at all levels is absolutely important if you want to build and maintain a great city. U.S. companies are focused also on being good corporate citizens in their local communities and stewards of the environment, and this can help create a synergy where, as a city redevelops and focuses on clean and green and efficient, where we can merge the expectations of investors, of shareholders, of employees, and host cities for a very positive alignment across a range of areas. You know, a good example is green buildings. World-class and best-in-market practices in manufacturing, construction, and operation is a fundamental consideration for many American firms, and this translates into less environmental impact, new technologies, better conditions for employees, our neighbors, and contributes overall to a higher quality of life in our community. American companies are also strong partners for universities and institutions of higher learning, developing research, developing partnerships, and helping define what are the skill sets needed for the new information and value-based economy going forward. This is something that has been learned through a lot of trial and failure, through success and lack of success in trying to regenerate industrial cities. And so whether you've been in Denver or Kansas City or Seoul or Paris or Singapore, we have seen what works. We've seen the role that private investors can play in helping redevelop areas which have either fallen into disuse or disrepair. And all of these projects are focused on not disrupting traditional city grids, environments, and traditions, but trying to recapitalize and redevelop the opportunities that exist in all of these great cities. So we've all had enough of lockdown, we've all had enough of disruption, and we're glad to be back. And events like this help us connect face-to-face, help us talk about our common goals, our common needs, and how we continue this process going forward. U.S. companies in Poland are here to stay. I believe they'll continue to bring value to the next generation of cities such as Łódź in the years ahead. And urban regeneration is a very simple concept. It's just hard to do. But urban regeneration is about creating and maintaining a community where people want to live, work, study, and invest. And we just have to look around to see that effort in practice every day here and around the country. So thank you for your attention. It's been great to be back here in Łódź again. I always see something new when I'm back every few months, and I can't wait to see what changes when I come back again shortly. So thank you and have a great day.